Good morning, Matt. Give us your name and tell us a little bit about the career that you have chosen to pursue.
My name's Matt Peabody. It's difficult to describe my career because it's been pretty multifaceted. I've attempted to kind of rank some of the things I've done, and I guess I would put international business as one, uh, engineering is a second component, entrepreneurship is another component, turnaround specialist. And I guess all balled together, you could probably say technology commercialization is really kind of what I've done with my life.
Now, all of those are very different. I would think someone who was completely set on becoming an engineer might look at their path a little bit differently than you did in your life. But when you started out, obviously you're very clever, so you were able to make a way wherever you decided to go. But how did you get started? What kind of schooling might be important for someone who wants to pursue any one of those very different careers?
I think the thing that helped me the most was my parents,
Okay.
um, particularly my father. My father was in international business, and he always let us tag along with him. So I would go into his plants with him and learn how the plants ran. And sometimes I would sit in his negotiation meetings
Mm.
as long as I kept my eyes and ears open and my mouth closed. So that coupled with my parents really kind of fostered an insatiable curiosity in all the kids. And we had probably the largest library in town.
Mm.
We had no television, but we were allowed to read anything we wanted to read, and we did. And to this day, I still read probably 3 to 5 books a week and 20 to 30 magazines. So I think that was important for me. And when I asked Lisa this morning, I said, what would you say it was? And she said, study hard, work hard.
Yeah, that applies to any industry, doesn't it?
Yeah. So,
Um, you're fortunate to have had parents who are really, really interested in your future. Not all of us had that same opportunity. Would you encourage people to latch on to a role model or to seek out someone who could give them that encouragement?
sure. And I've done it throughout my life. I've mentored quite a few people that have shown an interest in what I do. I have no no pride of ownership. I'm really open to share it with anybody. So and I've loved what I do. I mean, I don't remember ever working less than 80, 90 hours a week. Uh, and I just like what I do.
And then that's because you love it so much you couldn't stop, right? How does a person find a role model that they can trust? Like, how do you even go about doing that as a middle schooler or a high schooler?
Well, I think you need to take a whole bunch of different jobs and be willing to work hard. Um, I've had jobs. I mean, I built grape crates for a lumberman friend of my dad, Mr. Gantz, and I worked 6 days a week. I was 11 years old. They didn't have child labor laws in Mexico, and I would build 200 grape crates a day for 5 centavos a crate. So for 10 to 12 hours worth of work, I would get 10 pesos, which in those days was 80 cents. Um, but I learned a lot. I mean, I learned the lumber industry. I learned hard work, and I got exposed to different business models. Mr. Gantz was a Jewish guy who had come to Mexico and had made his fortune in the lumber business. And he was very good to me, and he would often come back into the lumber mill and just chat. So I learned a lot from him about, how business ran and how to price things. Um, I've found throughout my career that most people are very willing to share.
Mhm.
And so it's just a question of coming in contact with them and then expressing an interest.
What is your formal education? Did you pursue something specific post-secondary?
Yes, I have a couple degrees in chemical engineering and I have an MBA. So it has served me well. I continue to study. I remember when I started in biochemistry, there really wasn't much in the way of reactor design and biochemistry. So I studied it, and I actually co-wrote a book on biochemical reactor design with the Royal Biochemical Institute in Sweden, because my chemical engineering degree worked with inanimate chemicals. But when it came to biochemistry, I mean, these little fellows were alive. So if you just stuck a pump in there or a mixer and had too high a shear, you'd kill them all. And so it was very interesting work. And the heating and cooling cycles are different for biochemistry, and of course sterilization requirements are very, very important. And these are things that back in the 60s in chemical engineering were just not taught. So I've had to continue to learn as time goes on, and I like it.
I love your story because you have started and you've just used all of these experiences as building blocks to continue to transition into different worlds, completely different worlds. If we stop this interview here with the standard questions, people wouldn't realize how accomplished you really are.
Oh.
You've been very humble. Can you tell us just a little bit about some of the really remarkable things that you've been able to do that have impacted the world, really?
Well, I'd like to think that the most remarkable thing I've done uh, is to raise five really wonderful kids.
Ah, what a great answer.
And
This is why I love you.
we tried to instill the same uh, thirst for knowledge and in our children, and we always exposed them to science and music and all sorts of different topics and geographies and people and religions, and the world's a fascinating place. So
Matt, you are so delightful to work with, and you're a very humble man. I suspect there will be young people who might get a glimpse of this video and be intrigued further about your success in the world and the walk you've had in engineering, international business, all of the things you've pursued. Would you be willing to communicate with them through our website if one of them chose to reach out to us?
sure, absolutely.
I think that's very important to you and the future of the world, and that is our youth. And I respect you greatly for that. Thank you, Matt, for your time. I appreciate it.
You bet.
Thank you.
I could talk for days.
I know. Me too.
Yeah.
Thank
All
you.
right.